Welcome back to Pass Your Life and Health Insurance Exam podcast. I'm your host here, Biko. I'm very excited to have you. So, today we're going to do something different. So, we're going to bring you a recording of day one of our Pass Your Life Insurance Exam Challenge. Now, I'm sure some of you have heard, you've probably heard me talk about our challenge. So it's our 5 day uh, life insurance pre-licensing challenge. And the purpose of that is to help to prepare you for your exam within 5 days. Even if you're not 100% prepared, is to get you as close as possible to the finish line. So after that challenge, you should just need a few more days of study and be able to pass your exam. So that is what this that challenge is about. Now, what you're going to be listening to is the first part of the challenge, day one of that challenge, because it's a 5 day challenge, Monday to Friday. So what you're listening to is part one of day one of that challenge. So part one for day one was just going over test taking strategies, because you can know everything, but if you don't know the strategies to take the test, to prepare for the test, you're going to fail your exam. So that's what part one covers. The good news is 2 weeks from now, we're going to bring you part two of day one of the training, of the challenge. You're also going to get that. So enjoy. We'll see you. All right. Welcome to Minzo Pass. This is our first challenge. Our first challenge is the last week of January 2024, and we're doing our first challenge. So the whole purpose of the challenge here is to hopefully get you to prepare for your insurance exam within 5 days. Now, most people take 3-4 weeks, or some people take more than a month to prepare for the exam. So imagine trying to do something that should take you weeks to do, or sometimes even up to 2 months to do. Imagine trying to do that within a span of 5 days. So with the challenge here, it's going to be very rigorous, very intense. It's going to feel like a mini boot camp. I'm going to push you out of your comfort zone, but hopefully when you finish it, you should be ready to take your exam. So as you guys know, my name is Biko Martin. I'm the host of the most popular life insurance exam um, pre-licensing podcast in all of America. It's 36,000 downloads and counting. So I'm also uh, licensed life and health insurance agent. I've been in the industry for I've been in the industry now for almost 2 decades. Jeez, I feel kind of old. Been in the industry for almost 2 decades now, and I'm the author of several life insurance textbooks, and I'm also the lead instructor here at Minzo Pass. So yeah, at Minzo Pass, our goal is to train people and change lives, because hopefully, once you get your life insurance license, you can be able to change other people's lives, give them peace of mind, and in the process also, you can be able to change your life, make more money, and all of that. So that is what we do here at Minzo Pass. Yeah, Minzo Pass, we're 100% owned and operated by licensed insurance professionals, and uh, uh, we're created by insurance agents for insurance agents. So that's a little bit of background on me. Uh, I kind of love to teach, so sometimes I tend to talk a little bit too much. So if I'm repeating the same thing, if you got it, just let me know so we can move on. So for this challenge, we had, I think, about 3 or 4 people register for this challenge, but so far, for this first day of the challenge, I only have one person here. Her name is Lexi Estrada from South Carolina. So, Lexi, I'm going to give you a few minutes to introduce yourself. Uh, Anything you want me to know about you, or you want others to know about you, and then we can start.
Sure. Hi. I found this from your podcast, so
Mhm.
it's definitely a great tool there for us to find a way to learn pre-licensing information. I was trying to take over and do it myself, and it was way too much work, and I just wasn't getting it. And your podcast helped so much. So I'm excited for this challenge and to push myself and to hopefully finally get to a position where I feel comfortable to take the test. But yes, I live in South Carolina. I am from California originally. My mom is licensed life insurance agent in California, and she loves what she does. She works her own schedule, makes six figures, and she really is pushing me to do this as well, since I'm trying to find a career that has that flexibility and that income attached to it. So we're finally doing it. I've been putting it off for a long time and looking at other work, and it's just nothing has been fulfilling, and I want to find something that's fulfilling, and I know I just need to challenge myself. So I'm excited.
All right, that is good. I'm excited for you. I just give a quick background. So, as I said, you're not just getting someone to come and teach you some, teach you some theory. I'm a full-time insurance agent, right? So when I'm not teaching, I'm in a field, and I'm trying to help clients. But the insurance industry is a great industry, and you just touch on that. It's the most stable industry. Think about all the banks that went bankrupt, even during the Great Depression. There were a lot of companies, businesses that went out of business, but insurance companies were the only ones that were not affected. Even with 2009, with the recession, insurance companies were one of the few industries that was not affected. So the insurance industry is good. What I like about it, it gives you that WFA lifestyle, work from anywhere lifestyle, and you make good money and you help people. So I love it. Um, and my goal is to help as many people as possible to get into the insurance industry, because there's huge need for insurance agents now. There are a lot of insurance agents in the late 50s, 60s, the boomer generation. A lot of them are retiring. Hundreds of thousands of them are retiring every single year. And then the population is also increasing, right? So we got a lot of agents retiring, and also the population is increasing. So what that means for you is it's a great opportunity over the next 10 years. There will be a great need for insurance agents all across America. So now it's a great time to get into the industry. And I'll tell you, over the next 5, 10 years, there'll be a massive transfer of wealth. So people think that when you're an insurance agent, you just sell life insurance. And I say that is not true. You can also do 401k rollovers. You can do so many things. So I'm happy for you, Lexi, and your mom is one smart woman and trying
Right.
to push you into this. All right, so let's just get started, because if I start to talk about insurance, how I love insurance, why I love insurance, we could be here for the next 1 hour, and that is not why you're here. You're here to pass your exam.
That's
So let's get started. So here's the outline for the next 5 days. So we're going to come, it's going to be 2 hours of training every single day. Uh, Today is the first day, so uh, you know we have to do some housekeeping items. So yeah, we're kind of starting late, but tomorrow we're going to start. We're going to hit the ground running. So here's what we do. First thing is we have a diagnostic exam. So you take the diagnostic exam, which you've already done. I review it, see your strengths and weaknesses. Uh, then we start from there. First thing I want to say is that according to the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, the average pass rate across the country for the insurance exam is 37%. 37%. So that means 63% of people fail. So what are those? No, what is the majority doing wrong? So let's just go over some things. Because I know when people come And they say, oh, you know what, you should just show me, I want you to teach me, let's go over the insurance topics right away. But before we can even start covering the content, I want to go over some strategies, right? Because you can know the material, but if you don't follow these strategies, your chances of passing will be very slim, because 63% of people fail. On average, 63% of people fail the life insurance exam, and there's a reason why people fail. So with our strategy here, we have a very high pass rate. I think for our self-study course, our pass rate is 82%, which is almost 3 times the industry average. And for our live training, our pass rate is 98%. So 98% of people who do our live training pass, because we don't just focus on training you, we practice questions, but we'll go through with concepts and everything and some strategies. So let's just go over some strategies here first. These are helpful study tips. So what I recommend for you, Lexi, to start off with is schedule your exam before you start studying. So have you scheduled your exam so far, Lexi? Like do you have?
I don't have one right now, but I know how to. I've looked into it and I've seen what test states. I know they even allow, in my state at least, they allow you to test virtually. So they have a lot of openings available.
Okay. All right. That's good. So what we recommend here at MinzoPass is, number one, set an exam date. You want to schedule your exam. And it may seem a little crazy. It won't make sense to someone. Why should I schedule my exam when I'm not even ready to take the exam, right? It doesn't make sense. But the reason we say that is human beings by nature, we like to procrastinate, right? That is the major problem. But when you put your money on the line, whether it's $75 or $50 or whatever the exam fee is, when you put that money on the line, that forces you, to take action. Because if you don't do that, some people say, oh, I'm going to take my exam next month. Next month comes, I'm going to take my exam next month. And you look, it's been 3 months, 6 months, and you still have not prepared for your exam. So to beat procrastination, the first study tip, the first strategy tip that will help you is set an exam date. Now, your exam date should not be more than 3 weeks in advance. So if today is the first, your exam date should be within a 21-day period. And the reason we say that is if you schedule your exam more than 21 days ahead, then life comes up, right? Something may come up that will ruin your plans. Because there are a lot of times that you cannot predict what will happen. So schedule your exam within 21 days. Between 7 days, it should be no earlier than 7 days, but no later than 21 days. Pay that money, have a firm exam date, and that will put some fire behind you to actually start studying. The next thing we have, the next recommendation we have is to commit to a fixed study schedule. So Lexi, do you have a fixed study schedule right now?
Well, for the boot camp, definitely getting, started studying with this for the 2 hours. And then, I have a pretty open schedule right now since I'm in between jobs, and I'm hoping to just be able to jump into this right away. So I don't have a fixed schedule, but my whole day is pretty free. So I just have to force myself to take the time and to sit there and go to the library and go somewhere that's not in my house where I find every excuse to do something else.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. So this is the second tip. So we recommend that you have a fixed study schedule. Like the same way people have a fixed work schedule, right? You know that, okay, it can be snowing out there. It can be 10 inches of snow, but hey, I have to work. My schedule is 9 to 5. So whether you feel like it or not, you're going to drag yourself out of the house and you're going to go to work, right? So when it comes to studying, you should have that same mindset. Just think about it as a job where there is no excuse, unless, of course, you're seriously sick or something comes up. But think about it like, oh my God. Now, if it's whatever time, again, you pick a time that works for you. We usually recommend at least uh, 2 hours a day, right? Minimum 2 hours a day. But you can pick any time if mornings work better for you or evenings, nights, whatever. But pick a study time and let all your friends and family know that, hey, guys, for the next whatever length of time you'll be studying, for the next 1 week or next 2 weeks or next 3 weeks, I'm going to be unavailable from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I'm sorry if you want us to hang out. If you're calling me, I'm not going to return your call. My phone will be off, but just block out that time on your calendar. If you have distractions at home, maybe you can go to a Starbucks or you can go to the library, but just set a time. It can be 2 times a week, 3 times a week, but at least 2 hours. Set a time. It should be consistent, and that will help you to pass the exam. Now,
Yes.
You have any questions on that so far?
No, I think that's all very important information for sure. And I'll make a confession. I have been postponing this studying and pushing myself, I swear, probably for a year now.
You see?
It's been a year. I just have been like, oh, yeah, I start studying. I did all the coursework and hours required, and I got that certificate. And then I just didn't focus on it. I got that done and got that out of the way, and then I moved on and stopped focusing on it. And I forgot all the information that I learned. So I agree. It's important to just book that test date as soon as possible so it puts some fire underneath you.
Exactly. And that brings us to the third point here. Get an accountability partner. What does that mean? That means, just get someone who can hold you accountable. Like, hey, Lexi, your study schedule is 6 to 9, and hey, I see it's 6:30. You're still watching Netflix or whatever. Hey, turn on the TV.
Yeah.
So
true.
Yeah, so you need to have an accountability partner, someone that will hold you accountable, right? That you have someone there that can remind you. It can be a friend, it can be a family member. If you can't find one, in our online community, you can be able to find someone. Again, you can communicate, you can connect with other people, and you can be able to find someone. Like maybe you're in South Carolina, maybe one of the members in the community is from South Carolina. Maybe they live in your area or in your city. You can even get someone. You guys can set up, like a group, like a meeting time. You go to Starbucks or the library, you meet, but get someone that will hold you accountable. Number 4 on the list here is follow our active study strategies. A lot of people may say, but what is active study? You have 2 ways to study. You can either study passively or you could study active. Passive study is where you are just reading. So I'm online. I'm online and I'm just scrolling, and I'm reading. Or if I have a book, I'm just flipping. Yes, you're going to learn, but you're going to learn at a slower pace, because your brain is not activated. Like your brain is in a lazy mode.
Yeah.
So that is going to take you a longer time to really understand and learn the material. And even if you learn it, you probably won't remember it that long, right? Now, we use a different strategy, and that's called active learning. What that means is when you're learning, you want to make your brain a little uncomfortable. Like I'll give you an example. This is why when human beings have any traumatic major event in life, right? And it can be anything traumatic. human beings tend to remember traumatic events for a very long time. Sometimes it can be for the rest of your life, right? Because what the brain the brain was traumatized. So anytime your brain is traumatized, you have, again, I'm going to get a little scientific here. You're going to have your micro neurons, your brain nerve cells, they form lasting connections that make you to remember. Now we take that same approach, and there's actually science, there's science to back this up. So when you take our self-study course, we're going to give you some links. There are some research studies that were done in England years ago that prove this point. You can watch a lot of YouTube videos. There are a lot of things online that really they've done research and proven that this works. What we do is, now when you're studying, you want to make your brain a little bit uncomfortable. What that means is start with questions, right? Start with questions. Even if you don't know anything about that topic, start testing yourself. It's going to make your brain very uncomfortable, because your brain will have to think a little harder, for something that you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. So when you feel it, and yes, most of the time, of course, if you don't know something, you're going to feel it, but it's going to make your brain to be in a very hyper state. When you go back and someone comes and explain that, or if you go back and you read that material after you've tested yourself without learning anything, you go back, boom, it's going to make more sense. You're going to learn it faster, and it's going to stick longer. So that's the active learning strategy. So when you take our self-study courses, first we start with questions. After you take those questions, we'll do the explanation. Then after that, they do questions. And it's the same thing with our textbooks. You're going to start with questions. After questions, you read, then you go back and do questions. When you do it like that, you're going to learn about 2 times faster, and you're going to retain that material about 3 times longer. Any questions on the active study?
No, that makes perfect sense. I have definitely been doing passive studying, and it's not working. So I'm ready for the change.
That's good. So the next thing, tip number 5 we recommend is to study in a quiet environment. Now, you have some folks who prefer to have music or noise in the background. If that's you, that is fine, right? But most people can't concentrate when you have too many distractions. You have TV in the background, you have kids yelling in the background, you have whatever, right? So what we recommend is to find a study, like a quiet environment. It can be a library, it can be Starbucks, it can be in your basement or wherever, but find a quiet environment where you can be able to study from, and that will help. And we also recommend, while you're studying, to use Baroque, to play Baroque classical music. What that does, again, this is all backed by research and backed by science. What that does is it lowers your resting heart rate, and it also puts the brain in a hyper focus state, and it makes you to actually retain materials a lot faster and longer, right? So when you use Baroque classical music, you actually focus more, and your concentration increases almost 70% compared to not using it. So that's something you can type. Go to YouTube, Baroque, Baroque, Baroque classical music. Tip number 6 here we recommend is to score at least 90% on the 3 simulated exams. So if you're doing our self-study course, we have 3 simulated exams at the end. We have never, ever had any student score 90% on all those exams and fail the exam. Not one, right? All of the students who score at least 90% on those 3 exams, without any exception, all of them pass. So what we recommend is before you take your exam, go through all those 3 simulator exams and make sure you score 90%. That will help you to pass. Now, the next thing ties into number 6. You want to take your exam within 72 hours of you passing, of you scoring 90% on those 3 simulator exams. Because here's the thing with your brain. This is something new, like the life insurance, all those concepts you learn. Those are not things that you use every single day. So with the way our brain works, if you learn something and you don't use it, over time, your brain will gradually start to delete it, right? Delete, delete. And then you find out 1 week later, 2 weeks later, 6 months later, you've forgotten almost everything you learned. So there's a peak and there's a time frame, like a window. It's usually 72 hours when you're at your peak and you remember almost everything. So we recommend after you score the 90% in those 3 exams, you can always reschedule your exam, right? But you want to take your exam within a 72 hours period. If you can take it even the next day, that's even better. But after 72 hours, then there's a dramatic decline with every passing day. There's a decline in your memory for what you learn. So take your exam within 72 hours. Any questions so far?
No, that makes sense.
All right. Then tip number 8, you want to get at least 7 hours of sleep a day prior to your exam. This by far is the most important tip. You may do everything else. You may score 90% in the 3 simulator exams. You may know the material, all of that, that's fine. But if you don't get enough sleep, and we recommend at least 7, if you can get more hours of sleep, that's better. But recommend at least 7. What happens, I like to use the example of a computer. If you leave your computer on all day, most of the time, your computer slows down, right? You're going to see, like the speed is going to be a lot less. It's not going to speed up. It's going to take time to read and stuff like that. So your brain works the same way. So if you pull an all-nighter, maybe you only get 2 hours of sleep, or you stay up all night and you don't sleep, and you go and take the exam, what's going to happen is you're going to experience brain freeze. And you may know the material, but your brain will have a problem retrieving it, and you're going to end up failing. So we found out that most of the students who fail their exam with us, again, our exam prep, without any shadow of doubt, is the best. But most of the students who fail for this particular reason. They try to pull an all-nighter. They get 4 hours of sleep or 3 hours of sleep, and that is why we tell students every time, follow all these strategies. And if you do all these things, you combine that with our teaching and our exams and practice tests, there is absolutely no reason for you to fail your exam. But 7 hours of sleep should be the bare minimum. Don't take your exam on less than 7 hours of sleep. Your chances of passing, even if you know the material, will be very slim. Okay. We'll come here to number 9. On the exam, you want to do time management. Because your exam is timed. On average, across almost all the 50 states, you have about 1 minute and 20 seconds for each question. So while taking the exam, very important, if it's taking you more than 1 minute, about 60 seconds or the 1 minute mark, if you're still on a question and you can't figure it out, guess it, mark it for review, and move on. do not spend more than 1 minute on any single question, because more likely than not, if you're spending more than 1 minute on a question, most of the time that's a question that you're going to get wrong anyway. Because if you can't figure out in the first 1 minute, chances are you're probably not going to figure out, even if you spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes on it. The mistakes students make on the exam, like they come, they come across this one question that just stumps them, and they're trying to figure out. And 1 minute goes by, 2 minutes, 3, 4, and they spend 5 minutes on, something that they will get wrong anyway. And then towards the ending part of the exam, they have these easy questions come up, and now they're trying to rush to get all these questions through, to answer all these questions, and now they're spending only 20 seconds on each question towards the end. But those are questions that you are going to get right, but because you didn't really read it, you are rushing through, you're going to get questions that you are supposed to get right. You're going to get those questions wrong because you are rushing through. So time management is very key. So when you do our simulated exam, we recommend, that's a great opportunity to practice your time management. Do not spend more than 1 minute on any single question. If you can't get it after 1 minute, guess and move on. You can, if you have time, you can come back to it later. And any questions on that?
No, yeah, that makes sense too.
All right. And last point here is doing your exam, and this one is very important. I see, I hear people come and tell me, "Oh my God, I had the right answer and I changed it." Most of the time, if you're guessing, your first guess is most of the time the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
Do not go back to change an answer unless you are 100% positive that that was the wrong answer.
I know, I always do that.
Yeah, exactly. So if you implement all these 10 strategies and you combine it with our training, whether it's our live training or it's our self-study, but if you implement all these and you go through all of our training and take all of our exams, you will pass your exam guarantee. So that concludes it here for our test taking strategies. I'll stop here if you have any questions or comments, and then we're going to move to the next part of our training, of our challenge.
Yeah, no questions for me. I think that's all extremely beneficial information.
Okay.
That I'm going to implement.
All right.
It's boot camp.
So I hope you were taking notes.
I did, yes.
Notes, okay. So next thing here, one of the other things we recommend, even though it's not part of the 10, but all of our courses are structured according to your state exam outline. So there will be nothing on your exam. If it's not on your exam outline, it will not be in your exam training material. So one thing, if you will use our courses, whether it's a textbook or our self-study or everything, we go by the exam outline. But just in case you're not using our self-study course and you're using something else, maybe Excel solution or ExamFX, whatever, what we recommend is to use your state exam outline. Make sure that you know everything on your state exam outline. So let me put up, Lexi, you're from South Carolina. So
yes.
Let's put up the South Carolina exam outline. And you can find all of this online, free of charge. It's online. Just type in whatever you're stating, your state is. If it's South Carolina, you just type in Google South Carolina life insurance exam outline. If it's California life insurance exam outline. And everything is out there. So they've already told you every single thing that will be on your exam. So to make it easy, just go line by line and make sure that you understand every single topic on your exam outline. If you do, you should pass your exam, right? So let me share with you what's on your South Carolina exam outline here so you can see.
And I actually found it and printed it out because you've mentioned that on another podcast before.
Oh.
So I have it in front of me.
Right.
It's 33 pages.
Well, yeah, it's 23 pages, but let me show. Yeah, it's 23 pages, but you don't have to know all 23 pages. So let me show you here. Well, you can see right here. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, that's the one I have. Mm-hmm.
So the one, again, this is just for the life insurance exam. You have some of them will be the life and health, but this is just for the life insurance exam. So it will tell you the effective date. So this is the most recent exam outline, right? It's May of last year. Most states update their exam outline at least once a year. Some states do it twice a year. I know Washington, D.C., I know Texas, those states. There are some other states, I think about 15 states that update their exam outline every 6 months. But yeah, you can see when is the effective date. So this is May of last year. So it tells you this is the most recent. So yeah, it even tells you the number of questions that will be on your exam. So for the general portion of your exam, you're going to have 50 questions, and then you have 50 questions that will be scored, and you have 5 pre-test questions. So let me talk about these pre-test questions. And this brings me back to the point I made earlier with our test taking strategies. Some of those questions that you're getting hung up on, like you can't figure, is maybe you're spending 2, 3, 5 minutes on. Some of those questions may not even count after all, because those are pre-test questions, right? So they won't count. They won't count towards your score. They just put those questions there, to get a feel for how students answer that. So they'll put these pre-test questions there, and let's say if let's say about 40% get that question wrong, then they'll say, oh man, this is too difficult, so we won't include it on the exam. But let's say between 55 to 70% of people get it right, then on the next exam, it's going to be included. So some of those questions that you see that are very difficult, those are pre-test questions. So this even comes back to the point that if the question is very difficult, if you can't figure it out after 1 minute, and if you study very well and you still can't figure out after 1 minute, chances are it's a pre-test questions. It won't count towards your score. So it's a waste of time trying to spend more than 1 minute to answer it, move on. So this tells you right here, you have 50 score questions and then 5 pre-test questions. So for the general, you have 55 questions. Now let's fast forward here to the state exam content. So it tells you here for the state exam content, you have a total of 25 score questions plus 5 pre-test questions. So when you add it up, you'll be 30. 25 plus 5 is 30, and 30 plus 55 is 85. So on your South Carolina exam, you can expect to have 85 questions, but 10 of those questions will be pre-test questions. Any questions so far?
And that's just for life insurance, right? I know you recommend to separate life and health.
Exactly.
Okay.
Man, you are a very good student.
I've been listening to you religiously for the last almost, I guess, a month, honestly.
Okay, that's good. All right. So we have that out of the way. So now what we are going to do is, you see here your exam outline. So it's divided into, let's say, 6 chapters. Chapter 1 is types of insurance policies. So you have different types. You have variable, you have universal, you have you have term insurance, you have annuities, you have permanent insurance. You have different types. So that's what chapter 1 is, just the types of policies. Then chapter 2 is the policy riders, the options and all of that. Usually, most students don't really have a problem with chapter 1 that much, but most students have a problem with policy riders and options.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is true.
Huh?
That is very true for me.
Yeah. So that's chapter 2. Then we'll come here to chapter 3. So this is everything that goes on when a client is filling out an application, doing the underwriting process, and after that, you are delivering the policy to the client. What are the things you are supposed to do? What are the laws and all of that? So that's chapter 3. And then we'll come here to chapter 4. So chapter 4 is all about retirement and and other insurance concepts. So chapter 4 also tends to be very difficult. But the good news is, unlike chapter 2, usually chapter 4, you won't have that many questions coming out of chapter 4. Like, and they're even going to tell you, for each chapter, they're going to tell you the number of questions. So you can see here, for types of policies, they tell you there will be 15 questions, right? And then for the policy riders, it tells you there will be 15 questions. And for chapter 3, 12 questions. The good news for chapter 4, even though I think chapter 4 is the most difficult from my experience, anything that has to do with taxes, because chapter 4 will deal with taxes, retirement, and all of that stuff. Usually anything that has to do with taxes tend to be very complicated, retirement. So most people, from my experience, most people will score the lowest on chapter 4. But the good news is that chapter 4 usually makes up less than 10% of the exam. For some states, it's even as low as just 3%. So it's good to understand chapter 4, but if you can't get it, as long as you understand all the other chapters very well, you can still bomb chapter 4 and still pass your exam. So that's the good news. And then we'll come here to the law portion. So this one will just be the South Carolina laws about all things insurance. And then chapter 6 will be, chapter 6 is usually, the last chapter is usually the shortest. And this one will just be 7 questions. So that's the exam outline. So what we're going to do, usually for the challenge, we don't go into state law, right? For the challenge, we just focus on the general portion. So for the challenge, we'll be doing chapter 1 to chapter 4.
Okay.
Any questions so far?
Nope. Sounds good.
All right. So if you want, will you want to take a little break, or do you want us to continue?
I'm fine to continue, but it's up to you.
Okay. No,
you need a minute?
No, it's fine with me. All right.
Okay.
So let's move on. I hope you have your pen and paper.
I do.
All right, perfect. So what we'll do is now we'll just go through your exam outline, and we got roughly about 40 more minutes to go.
Okay.
So we'll go through your exam outline, and and I'll just explain those topics to you. Now, what we do, as I said, our active learning strategy is you do some practice questions. Let's say if we're talking about types of policies, so we're going to give you some questions ahead of time. Maybe it may be a 50-question test, 75-question test. We're going to give it to you before class starts. So you're going to take the test, and of course, you'll probably get some wrong, or maybe a lot of them wrong. But now you come with all your questions, a lot of things that didn't make sense to you when you took the exam. Now when I'm explaining that, it will make more sense to you. Then you go back and retake that exam, and then boom, it's going to stick like a glue. So that is what we're going to do. You are not able to do it but I'm going to give you assignment. So let's say if we're doing chapter 2 tomorrow, I'll assign chapter 2 questions. And please, when you're doing these questions, Lexi, and this is for everybody else, please do not cheat yourself, right? You're not cheating me. You're not cheating MinzoPass. This is meant to help you prepare for your exam and pass your exam. So please do not look at any exam content. Do not try to get help from online. You want to look up a question? No, just answer it without looking at anything. Do the best, because based on that, if I see you do very well, then I'm going to skip a lot of things. If I see you score very poorly, then I'm going to spend a lot of time. So help me help you by being honest with yourself.
Yeah, of course. I think that's so important.
All right. So let's move on. All right. I know that was great. Woo! That was awesome. That was awesome. So that was just part 1 of our challenge. That was day 1. So that was on Monday. That was day 1 of our Pass Your Life Insurance Exam Challenge. It's a 5-day challenge. So how did you like that? I mean, these are strategies. I'm assuming you didn't know some of them, but these are strategies that can help you. So that was awesome. Hey, we would like to know how you feel about this. Okay, like what are your thoughts? Do you like what you're learning? Do you have questions? We highly recommend that you please, we highly recommend that you please put those questions in, in the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment. If you're on the podcast, you can also comment on the podcast, or you can write a review. But it's great. It's great. I'm very excited. The next challenge we're going to have will be in February. So if you're interested, sign up for it. We have the link to that description here. Just some few housekeeping tips. Again, if you want to be a part of our challenge, it's 5 days, and it's going to help prepare you for your exam. You can register for it. You have a 5-day free trial. If you don't like it, you can cancel. Check out our YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on podcast, we have all of these things I'm talking about. We have everything in the description. Third, we have a webinar every week on Thursdays at 11 a.m. So if you want to be a part of that webinar, you come and learn. It's going to be live training, whether you're a new agent or whether you're you want to pass your life insurance exam. You come there. It's going to be about 1 hour, but it's going to be something that will help you. So we have a lot of great things that are going on here. We highly recommend. Just click all these links. Click all these links here. You can go to our website if you want to subscribe to our newsletter. Over there, we will send a lot of promotional stuff, discounts, a lot of good things that are going on. You will be the first to know. So again, click all the links below, and they should be able to help you to pass your exam. And what else here? Let me just make sure I have everything. Yeah. And of course, if you want to contact us, our number is 202-703-3668. Again, 202-703-3668. And if you want to email us, you can email us as minzopass@minzopass.com. We have everything here in the description. If you also want to be a paid affiliate, that means you want to get paid for referring people to us, then you can also sign up for our affiliate program. We have those links in the description. All right, so that was great. I hope you enjoy this. We'll see you part 2 of day 1 of that training will air in about 2 weeks. So follow us. If you're listening to this or watching it on YouTube, you want to subscribe, hit that bell notification so that once we publish that episode, you will be notified. All right. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next.